Starting your medical journey, it can feel like you're trying to navigate this really complex maze, right? Especially when you focus in on admissions in a specific region like
Yeah,
Odisha.
exactly.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, NEET, focusing specifically on the ins and outs of medical and allied health admissions right there in the state of Odisha.
Yeah, and we've pulled together quite a bit of material for this. Official notifications from OJE, some detailed guides from education portals, even looking at national policy stuff.
Right.
Our mission, really, is to cut through all the clutter, pull out those essential bits of information, and give you a clear roadmap from figuring out if you're eligible right through to picking your college.
So whether you're dreaming of being a doctor, maybe a future Ayurvedic practitioner, or you're considering other health sciences, we'll try to unpack the criteria, the processes, and maybe even some surprising facts about chasing those medical dreams in Odisha.
Okay, let's start unpacking this then. For anyone who's got their eye on a medical seat in Odisha, what's the absolute sort of foundational requirement, the first step?
It all starts with NEET UG, plain and simple. A valid NEET UG score is, well, it's mandatory for all MBBS admissions in Odisha. That covers both the government colleges and the private ones, too.
No score, no entry.
Pretty much, yeah. Without that score, you're essentially not even in the running.
Okay. And who's actually steering the ship for admissions within the state then, once you have the score?
That would be the Odisha Joint Entrance Examination Board, or OG. They're the main authority.
Oh, OGE. Right.
They run the Odisha NEET UG counseling, and crucially, they manage that big chunk, the 85% state quota seats.
85%. Yeah, it's significant. The other 15%, the All India quota or AIQ seats, those are handled nationally by the Medical Counseling Committee, the MCC.
So two parallel tracks almost, based on that one NEET score.
Exactly. You've got the state path and the All India path.
So breaking that down further, what does this mean in terms of like the number of seats and colleges actually available in Odisha?
Well, Odisha has a pretty solid medical education setup. Sources suggest around 12 government and 3 private MBBS colleges.
Okay.
Now, the exact total seat numbers, they can fluctuate a bit year to year in notifications, but generally, you're looking at roughly 2,525 MBBS seats.
That's quite a few.
It is. And then for BDS, that's dentistry, it's around 363 seats. Plus, for AUS courses, BAMS, and BHMS, you've got about 341 BAM seats and 156 BHMS seats. So it's quite comprehensive.
Right. Let's talk about the hurdles then, the eligibility. Beyond just having that NEET score, what are the key criteria someone needs to meet to study MBBS or even the AYUS courses in Odisha?
Okay, so beyond the score itself, the percentile in NEET is critical. If you're in the general category, you need to hit at least the 50th percentile.
Minimum 50th. Got it.
For SC, ST, and OBC candidates, it drops to the 40th percentile.
Okay.
And for candidates with benchmark disabilities, BWD, it's the 45th percentile if they're general, and 40th percentile if they're in a reserved category. This percentile floor is non-negotiable.
Makes sense. What about things like age or, your 10+2 marks?
Yep, good points. Age-wise, you have to be at least 17 years old as of December 31st, 2025.
Standard cutoff date.
Right. Academically, particularly for the AISH courses, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, homeopathy, you generally need a minimum of 50% aggregate in physics, chemistry, and biology. Or biotechnology counts for homeopathy. That's for the general category in your 10+2 exams.
And relaxations for reserved categories.
Yes, that drops to 40% aggregate for SCS, TOBC. And similar relaxations apply for PWD candidates, too.
Okay. And then the big one, domicile. That residency requirement for the state quota seats. How does that work in Odisha?
Yeah, this is crucial for that 85% quota. Your parents must be permanent residents of Odisha, and you have to produce a resident or nativity certificate form No. 3, specifically when it comes to document verification.
So proof is key.
Absolutely. But here's a really interesting point, especially for students outside Odisha.
Oh.
For the All India quota seats, the AIQ seats, in private institutions in Odisha, no domicile certificate is required.
Wait, really? So for private college AIQ seats, anyone from India can apply without needing Odisha residency?
Exactly. It effectively makes Odisha an open state for those specific seats in private colleges. It's a strategic point many might miss.
That's a huge takeaway, Odisha, as an open state for those private AIQ seats. Okay, let's pivot to the institutions themselves. Can you highlight some of the top government and private medical colleges for MBBS in Odisha?
Sure. On the government side, you've got some really well-known names. AIMS Bhubaneswar, of course. Definitely. Then there's SCB Medical College and Hospital in Cuttack. Vimsar, that's Veer Surendra Sai Institute of Medical Sciences in Semilpur, and MKCG Medical College in Ganjam.
And they have decent seat numbers.
Yeah, quite substantial. SCB, for instance, has 250 seats. AM's Bhubaneswar has 125. They're major institutions.
Okay, and on the private side, who are the key players there?
For private MBS, High-Tech Medical College and Hospital is prominent, with campuses in Bhubaneswar and Rourkela.
Right.
There's also Drimes Institute of Health Sciences and Hospital. And then two other major ones are Kalinga Institute of Medical Sciences, KIMS in Bhubaneswar, and the Institute of Medical Sciences, IMS, and SUM Hospital, also in Bhubaneswar.
KIMS and NGS and SEM, they're quite large, aren't they?
They are. Both KIMS and MS and SEM Hospital offer 250 seats each, so significant private options within the state.
And what about the AUH side? For BAMS or BHMS?
Right. For BAMS, on the government side, there's Gopabadu Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya in Puri and the Government Ayurveda College and Hospital in Balanjir. Privately, Sri Sri College of Ayurvedic Science and Research Hospital in Cutoff is a notable one. And for BHMS, you have institutions like Dr. Avina Chandra Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital in Bhubaneswar.
So we know the requirements, we know some of the key colleges. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does the actual admission process work? You've got your NEET score, you're eligible. What happens next? How does OJ manage this whole thing?
Okay, so the whole process is managed online by the OG board. It usually kicks off around July, August for the 2025 cycle, for instance. It's definitely a multi-step journey.
That's one.
Step one is online registration and fee payment. You go to the official OJE website, create your user ID, password, fill in details. There's a non-refundable counseling fee, which is currently INR 1,000 for everyone.
Pretty standard fee.
Yeah. And specifically for BAMBIS BHMS, if you get a provisional allotment later, there's an initial part admission fee online, about Rs 8,500, which includes university registration fees. Paying this is sort of your first commitment.
Right, gets you on the system properly, then comes the paperwork check, I assume.
Exactly. Step two, document upload and verification. This is crucial. You'll scan and upload everything. NEET scorecard, 10th and 12th mark sheets, school leaving certificate, that domicile certificate if you're going for state quota.
CAS certificate if needed.
Right. CAS certificates if applicable, photo, signature. And here's a critical point. If the verification officers flag any issue or need clarification on your documents,
Yeah.
you usually have just 24 hours to respond.
Yeah.
If you miss that window, or if your documents like nativity or quota certificates aren't valid, you could be disqualified, or an allotted seat could be canceled right there. It's a tight turnaround.
Wow, okay. Need to be on the ball with emails then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After they verify everything, OJE moves to step three, merit list publication.
The ranking.
Yep. They'll release a provisional state merit list for 2025 that's expected around July 29th. Then, based on final checks, the final merit list comes out maybe August 1st. This list is truly based on your NEET score and your verified documents. It basically sets your Odisha NEET rank for the counseling rounds.
Okay, rank is out. Then comes this really strategic part, choice filling. This is where you decide where you want to go, right?
Precisely. Step four, choice filling and locking. This is arguably the most important step for the candidate. You log back into the OJE portal and you fill in your preferences for colleges and courses.
How many choices can you list?
There's no limit. And the advice is always, fill in as many choices as you genuinely consider in your actual order of preference.
Makes sense, maximize your options.
Absolutely. But the key thing is locking those choices before the deadline. Once you lock them, or once the deadline passes and they auto-lock, that's it. You cannot change them.
No second thoughts after locking.
None. So you need to be really sure about your preference order before you hit that lock button or before the window closes.
Okay, choice is locked. What happens next? How do they actually assign the seats?
Then we move into step five, seat allotment rounds. OJ conducts multiple rounds, usually round one, round two, then a mop-up round, and sometimes, if seats are still left, a stray vacancy round.
And it's all based...
Strictly based on your final Odisha NEET rank from that merit list, the choices you locked in, your category, general, SEA, ST, OBC, PWD, etc., and obviously seat availability in those colleges.
Yeah.
Now, after you get a provisional allotment, say in round one, you generally have two options, freeze or float. Freeze or float, what's the difference? Freeze means you accept the seat you've been offered, you're happy with it, your counseling journey for that seat ends there. You then proceed with admission formalities.
Okay.
Float means you accept the offered seat provisionally, but you want to be considered for higher preferences in subsequent rounds, like round two. If you get upgraded, great. If not, you still keep the seat you floated from round one. It keeps your options open for improvement.
Ah, okay, so float is like saying, I'll take this for now, but I'd prefer something higher up my list if it becomes available.
Exactly. After making that free float decision online, you usually have to report physically to the OJ cell. It's in Ganamunda, Bubinzwar for document verification and provisional admission confirmation.
Physical reporting is mandatory then.
Yes. Failure to report after allotment usually leads to cancellation of that allotted seat.
Right.
And you might be out of that particular round, maybe even subsequent rounds, depending on the rules.
Right. What if someone gets a seat, maybe pays the fee, but then decides to withdraw? Can they get a refund?
Yes, there's usually a window for withdrawal. If you withdraw within the stipulated period, you typically get most of your fee back, maybe 90%, with OJE retaining about 10% as a processing fee.
But if you withdraw late?
If you withdraw after the deadline, especially after later rounds, you often forfeit the entire fee. And in some cases, withdrawing late, like after the final allotment in the third round with forfeiture, can make you ineligible for any further counseling, central or state, for that academic year. It's a serious decision.
Okay, so timing is critical for withdrawal too. What about later rounds, like round 2 or the mop-up?
Round 2 often allows candidates who didn't register initially or who didn't get allotted in round 1 to register fresh and fill choices. Those who chose float in round 1 are automatically considered for upgrades. The mop-up round is usually for seats still vacant after round 2. And if, after all this, seats still remain empty, they might hold a spot admission round, which often requires candidates to be physically present. It's like a final clearinghouse.
Okay, that covers the MBBS process pretty thoroughly. But our deep dive isn't just about MBBS. What about the other allied courses? Can you give us an update on admissions for BDS, BAMS, BHMS, and Odisha?
Certainly. Yeah, beyond MBBS, Odisha definitely offers admissions for Bachelor of Dental Surgery, BDS, Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery, BAMS, and Bachelor of Homeopathic Medicine and Surgery, BHMS. And importantly, these are also based on your NEET UG score and channeled through the same OG counseling process.
Same process, different courses.
Exactly. So, as we mentioned briefly before, for BDS, there are around 363 seats. Colleges like High Tech Dental College and Hospital, SCB Dental College and Hospital are key players there.
And for BAMS, the Ayurvedic stream.
For BAMS, you've got colleges like Gopabandhu Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya in Puri. The total seat count is around 341, and that includes both the state quota and the All India quota seats managed through AWH Counselling nationally.
Okay. What about homeopathy BHMS? And is Unani medicine BUNMS an option within Odisha?
For BHMS, there are roughly 156 seats. Institutions like Dr. Abhina Chandra Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital are part of that. Now, BMS, Bachelor of Unani Medicine and Surgery, that's interesting. Our sources indicate that currently there are no government BMS colleges functioning under OG counseling in Odisha.
So no state option for Unani in Odisha right now.
It seems not, based on the available info. So if you're specifically interested in BMS, you definitely need to look at options in other states through the national AWH counseling process.
This brings up a really interesting strategic point. Why might a student from Odisha, even a good ranker, look beyond the state borders for MBBS? Maybe aiming for that all-India quota instead of just focusing on the Odisha State Quota?
That's a very relevant question.
Yeah.
It really boils down to competition and cutoffs. Getting a government MBBS seat in Odisha, like in many states, is incredibly competitive. The cutoffs can be very high.
Especially for general category, I imagine.
Absolutely. Nationwide, government college cutoffs often push well above, say, 500, 600 marks in NEET for the general category. So if a student from Odisha has a strong score, but maybe not quite high enough for their preferred government college in Odisha via the state quota.
You look at the AIQ?
Exactly. They'll definitely explore the 15% all-India quota seats managed by the MCC. This gives them access to government colleges across the entire country. They might also look at private colleges or deemed universities outside Odisha, which might have slightly different fee structures or slightly lower cutoffs that fit their rank better. It's about widening the net.
Makes perfect sense. Now, flipping that, why would students from other parts of India look towards Odisha for medical studies? We touched on the open state aspect for private AIQ.
Right, and that's a major draw. Odisha is increasingly seen as an attractive destination. Firstly, those 15% AIQ seats exist in both government and private colleges.
Okay.
And as we highlighted, for the AIQ seats in private institutions, there's no domicile requirement. That's a huge advantage, making those seats accessible to students from anywhere in India without needing Odisha residency.
So that opens doors significantly.
It really does. Plus, you have nationally reputed institutions like MBBS located in Odisha, which attracts top rankers from all over. And generally, the quality and the growing number of both government and private colleges make Odisha a solid choice for students looking for options outside their home state, especially if they have a competitive NEET rank.
So for students looking nationally, whether from Odisha or elsewhere, can you maybe name a few of those top-tier, highly sought-after medical colleges across India, just broadly speaking?
Sure. Beyond Odisha, when students look nationwide, certain names always come up. You've got AIMS Delhi, obviously. Christian Medical College, CMC Vellore, is legendary. Maulana Azad Medical College in Delhi. GME Aaron Puducherry. Then there are renowned private and deemed universities like Kasturba Medical College with campuses in Manipal and Mangalore, or places like Santosh Medical College in Ghaziabad, Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi. The list is long, but these are some of the perennial top choices students target.
Okay, great context. So, to wrap up our deep dive today, let's touch on anything recent, any latest news or developments in the medical education scene, especially anything impacting Odisha.
But one big piece of national news that definitely has downstream effects, including in Odisha, is the approval of new medical colleges. The National Medical Commission, the NMC, recently gave the green light to 112 new medical colleges across India.
112 new colleges, that's massive.
It's a huge increase in seats. And the expectation is that this should have some impact on cutoffs for the, over 25 lakh students aspiring through NEET. It might ease the pressure slightly, even in competitive states like Odisha. More seats generally means slightly more accessible cutoffs, theoretically.
Love to see how that plays out in practice.
Definitely. We've also seen other NMC initiatives recently, like mandating authentic patient records in all medical colleges, and even a task force looking into the very serious issue of student suicides in medicine. So there's a focus on standards and well-being, too.
Important developments. Anything specific to the Odisha process happening right now?
Yes, absolutely. The OJE recently announced its schedule for the 2025 NEET UG State Medical Counseling. Registrations for the current cycle are actually closing very soon on July 26.
Okay. Deadline alert for listeners.
Definitely. And following that, the provisional merit list is expected around July 29th, with the final merit list anticipated on August 1st. So things are moving very quickly right now for this year's aspirants in Odisha. Those dates are absolutely critical.
Wow. This deep dive into Odisha's medical admissions really underscores just how, intricate and dynamic the whole process is. From getting that NEET score, checking eligibility, navigating OJ, the counseling rounds, the choices, it's a lot.
It really is.
Yeah.
And understanding all these details, the quotas, the domicile rules, the freeze-float options, the deadlines, it's not just helpful. It's absolutely crucial for making informed decisions. Every single percentile point, every document you submit, every choice you lock in truly matters. It can genuinely shape your entire medical career path.
Whether you're aiming for a seat right there in Odisha or maybe using it as a potential destination while looking across India.
Exactly. The stakes are high and the strategy needs to be sound.
So thinking about this whole journey from prepping for NEET all the way through to potentially getting that admission letter, what aspect of this entire process do you think demands the most careful, strategic planning from an aspirant's perspective? Something for our listeners to really mull over. We hope this deep dive has given you a solid foundation to start that planning right now.